So beautiful moments for us. Um, it was a really interesting conversation. It's something that we, as a design studio, are often sort of talking about. One of the things that is obviously a really important component part of design is the aesthetic of something, and people will inherently be attracted to, um, you know, the more beautiful looking car or the more gorgeous looking outfit. Inherently as humans, we're attracted to more attractive things. So aesthetic is very much sort of a component part of design. But I think from our standpoint, and something that we were looking at was, because our focus is predominantly services, we were saying actually sometimes a lot of that is invisible. So when we talk about aesthetic to a service, and we talk about beauty and being able to design beauty in, what does that mean? So one of uh, the sort of definition that we sort of talk about in our book is that beauty is this sort of combination of three things coming together. It's the aesthetic of the service, so how it might look to you as you're moving through. So that might be the various sort of touch points, or the people that you meet, or the environments that you're in. Um, there's this idea of kind of usability. So this whole idea, the sort of Dieter Rams, Steve Jobs school of, it's not how something looks, it's how something works that is beautiful about the design. And the third thing is it really solves your problem elegantly. So, and this idea of elegance and this idea of problem solving combined is the fused with the aesthetic and fused with the sort of easy to use, is the thing that we think can inherently make something beautiful. So the beauty can be in an overarching experience, to be amplified to a certain extent, beyond the normal expectation, or beauty can be very much in the detail. So I think, that whole phrase of beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's important to understand that it can be a very micro moment, or it can be something which is hugely grandiose and impactful. So yeah, that's the dynamics, those three things coming together that we talk about. Beauty in the context of services and experiences. Disney's always held up as a great experience brand, and I think obviously they create these magical experiences. You could just look at some of the Star Wars experience where you can actually go and stay in the sort of Star Wars hotel. All of the windows are LCD displays which show Tatooine on the outside. You wear all of the Jedi sort of clothing. That is immensely immersive. You stay there for a couple of days, and for someone who is Star Wars aficionado. But actually, when you look at some of the other things they're doing, within their theme parks, one of the big challenges of theme parks is the idea of, it's very focused on kids. Obviously, what are kids rubbish at? Queuing. What do we know about theme parks? Queues take up the majority of the time. So actually their virtual queue system, which is super, super amazing, which is essentially you can book a slot within a queue. You don't actually have to wait in line. You can go and experience the rest of the park. It can give you an alert and a countdown for when your slot is available, and they manage the queue virtually. So effectively what you can do is pre-book all of your rides before you go, and then you're essentially seamlessly moving throughout the park and experiencing everything without actually wasting all that time from queuing in line. And I guess one of the big things is, okay, that's great from a visitor's perspective, but actually what they've realized is that they've managed to not only improve and surprise and delight the visitors, they've also managed to sort of improve their pockets, because people are more spending more time spending than they are queuing. So it's a real win-win for them. And then I guess the last one, which is, I guess one of the things that, you mentioned right at the beginning, and it's the idea of people and the role that people play within brands. And I think one brand we always look to, especially when we're thinking about travel and tourism industry, how do you get this balance between sort of codifying or sort of structuring the kind of customer service that you might get? So in essence, you're sort of removing the humanity from the people that you're speaking to. And then how do you get a balance between that, the operations, but also if you've recruited the right people, you want to be able to allow their personalities to bleed into the service and to affect the service. And I think the people that get this absolutely, sort of right is, Southwest Airlines. If you've got a different way of doing the safety announcement on the plane, that's still going to be, focus on keeping people safe, but you want to do it in a wrap, then you go for it. We want you to showcase what you guys can do, because actually that brand is manifest through that experience of that person. And because they're sort of implanting their own personality into that brand, it's this sort of mutual sort of cyclical sort of experience that you can have, but through the people that you're experiencing the service with. So from my perspective, all of those things in one sense are different forms of stunning, but actually what we would describe those as, that's how you begin to start having that beauty conversation when you're talking about services.